Welcome to the Mortgage Note Podcast. I'm Scott Kimbler. We are speaking with Miki Adams with CBC Mortgage Company, a company that is Native American owned and specializes in mortgage down payment assistance.
We began in May of 2013. We are headquartered out of Cedar City, which is in southern Utah. We are a subsidiary of the Cedar Band Corp, which is actually wholly owned by the Cedar Band of Paiutes. And so we offer down payment assistance nationally to first-time home buyers, but not just first-time home buyers, also those in underserved communities. And also a big focus for us right now is a millennial home buyer. The way it works is we offer down payment assistance in the form of a forgivable or repayable second mortgage. Typically, this is paired with an FHA-insured first mortgage. And depending on the borrower's eligibility and the loan product selected, we can provide up to 3.5% or 5% of the purchase price, which essentially covers the full required down payment on an FHA loan. The program is available in 49 states. We offer it in all states except New York. Outside of that, we're just a national resource for down payment assistance. There are hundreds of down payment assistance programs out there, primarily offered by state housing finance agencies. We are considered a government housing finance agency as a government entity mortgagee with FHA. I think there are a few things that make us different from some of the other down payment assistance programs out there. Being nationwide, what we've tried to do was take a lot of the time delays out of closing a transaction. So we have one set of underwriting guidelines that applies across all states. We also don't have any income limitations. So a lot of down payment assistance programs will have an income limitation. As an example, you can't make more than 80% of the area median income. Well, we recognize that millennial borrowers are a whole new generation of homeowners that are really struggling to save up for a down payment. They may fall outside of the area median income. They are typically going to be a little higher earning. And so this program is really designed to help everybody. We also offer 18 months of post-purchase counseling for our borrowers. Since over 90% of our borrowers are first-time home buyers, we recognize the need that they may want a little bit more coaching through their first year and a half or so of owning a home. Sometimes you're just so excited, you're buying your first home, which is very stressful and challenging, just getting through that process. Then you get the keys to the house, and then what? And then you're on your own. So our program, our borrower success program, is designed to stay with the borrower. We actually partner with a HUD-approved housing counseling agency called MMI. A very well-regarded company headquartered out of DC. And we assign a mentor to each one of our borrowers once they close their transaction. And then that mentor will just check in with them on a monthly basis, see how they're doing to help them with any challenges, whether it's a financial hardship or a home maintenance issue. They're kind of there to just coach them through. So those are a couple of the things that make us different from some of the other down payment assistance programs. But I really want to stress the importance of all down payment assistance programs, whether it's our program or another state housing program. In today's world, we are so challenged with affordability issues, and we have we're not making any improvements in terms of homeownership rates, particularly in the African American demographic. And so I think we need all the resources out there to help everyone achieve homeownership. I really am a big supporter of anything that we can do to support down payment assistance. Again, whether it's a state housing finance agency or a nonprofit, housing is a bipartisan issue. This is a topic that's being put before both parties, and we should all be advocating for ways in which we can make homeownership more accessible to everybody. So, having said that, what I've seen is that there is a lack of information and knowledge out there to consumers about down payment assistance. I think we need to educate the public more on the availability of down payment assistance programs. Um, I often I come across, an Uber driver or taxi driver or even someone in the dental office that asks me what I do, and I talk about it, and they're just surprised. They're stunned. They think that they've been trying to save up their money for a down payment. They figure they'll be ready in about 3 years, and they're surprised to learn that there is help out there and that they can get started on their home ownership journey now. They don't have to wait 3 years. So I love that that's something that we can contribute to. One of the things that we've been doing lately is partnering with some of our lender partners to go out there and actually have home buyer fairs, workshops and fairs. And with one partner that we've been focused on teaching consumers about the home buying process, not just in the financial literacy piece, but also in just the whole bringing together the whole mortgage finance ecosystem. So that means we're teaching them about financing piece, we're teaching them about credit responsibility, we're teaching them about mortgage insurance, we're teaching them about appraisals, title insurance, how all of it comes together. Uh, so anything else I can tell you there?
Yeah, actually, just clarifying on a couple of things that you have mentioned. So you said a lot of your clientele or the people that come to you are um, millennials and younger, I would assume, that are mostly first-time home buyers, and you also offer counseling programs with them. Can you sort of walk me through how that process works if you have a young single person or a young couple and even a couple that has started a family that comes to you? How do you walk a young buyer through this process? Because as you mentioned, it can be a very complicated process, even years down the road. Uh, it's it's hard to say that mortgages get less complicated because they really don't. There's always, something, and there's new wrinkles and things of that nature. So how do you take folks that would be seemingly the least informed about this at this point in their lives? How do you walk them through that process and make it an understandable process for them?
I mentioned that we work with our lenders that actually do the originating of the mortgage. We provide the funds for the down payment assistance, but we don't have that first face-to-face contact with the borrowers. So it's really up to the lender to walk them through the mortgage process and informing them about the availability of down payment assistance. And what we've been trying to accomplish, as I said earlier, um, is getting out there and teaching borrowers about all the components that it takes to buy a house. So not just the mortgage loan documents themselves, but the appraisal, the realtor, how the relationship with the realtor works, how the relationship with the lender works, the appraiser's role, the title insurance role. Because you're right, most borrowers will go to a lender and they'll get pre-qualified, and then they'll work with a realtor, find the house that they want, go through the process, but they don't always get all the information and the education, I should say, about how the process works. For our program specifically, for the down payment assistance program, our borrower education piece that the borrowers take before they purchase the home walks them through what down payment assistance is. It walks them through the pros and cons of down payment assistance, whether or not it's right for them, whether or not they should simply take the time to save up their funds for that down payment, or actually take advantage of down payment assistance and move forward now in buying a home. So we do what we can to inform them, at least on the down payment assistance piece, and we do that through, as I said, the borrower education, but also through disclosure documents that we have the lender provide to the borrower.
How does that process work and how does it impact a mortgage?
So you have two options for the down payment assistance. It always comes in the form of a second mortgage, and this is pretty typical of most down payment assistance programs out there. There are some programs that might be a grant or gift, but ours comes in the form of a second mortgage. The second mortgage will either be a repayable second mortgage that's amortized over 10 years. The borrower makes equal monthly payments for that 10-year period, or it's a forgivable second mortgage. The forgivable second mortgage is forgiven after 36 months of on-time payments of the first mortgage. So this is a way in which, borrowers are incented to really develop those good habits and making their monthly mortgage payments on time. Then the whole amount is forgiven. So the interest rate on that forgivable mortgage is 0. The term is 30 years. So they really have 30 years that they can hold on to that forgivable second mortgage. Let's say that they don't decide to sell their home and move up. They bought the home that's just perfect for them for the next 30 years, which isn't typical, but should that happen, and they go through a bad period within the 36 months where they've either had a job loss or some financial hardship, and they don't quite make the 36 months of on-time payments, so it doesn't get forgiven immediately within that first 3-year period. They have the opportunity to just work towards that. With the repayable second mortgage, there usually is a slightly higher interest rate on the first mortgage, and usually still pretty in line with where FHA mortgage rates might be, considering the higher LTV associated with that loan.
And backtracking a little bit, you also said that your company that you work for is owned by a Native American tribe, which I have to say is really not something I've ever considered that, the Native American tribes would be involved in the mortgage business, even though in hindsight, it does make a bit of sense. Can you tell me how that came to be and how the Native American community, fits into this mortgage landscape?
Well, the Native American communities all have their different uh, economic development arms. Some have casinos, some have defense contracting, which we do a lot of defense contracting. The Cedar Band does a lot of defense contracting. The down payment assistance piece came. It was before my time. I started with the company 9 years ago. Um, but the way it fits in is just. Let me say this. I'm just trying to figure out how to best answer that question. It's no different from any other company just because we're native owned. I mention that because I'm really proud of the fact that our company has dual mission. One, we are helping people get into homes. That's very rewarding all in itself. On the other hand, we're serving a Native American tribe. So um, all of the ownership benefits, the net revenue, all go to the tribe to support the infrastructure of the tribe, including their after-school programs, their senior care, their roads, their schools, and everything else that they need to support their community. So really proud of that sort of dual mission our company has.
I see on the company's website that you do have a focus, at least by mention, of the minority community being African American, Native American, and Hispanics. Do you find yourself somewhat uniquely positioned to do that, being a minority community there?
I don't know that we're uniquely positioned to do that. We focus on it, and that's a big part of why we're here, because there's a huge need. There's a gap in homeownership for some of our minority communities. Right now, we're roughly 60% of our down payment assistance does go to minority communities. and low moderate income communities were roughly about 43% or so. So that is a mission of ours. That's a real focus of ours, yes.
But that doesn't limit anybody. You still deal with all sorts of clients and all sorts of buyers, correct?
Yes, yes, that's right, we do.
So a little bit of background on you. How did you come to be a part of this company and this community?
I, um, I have been primarily spent my career, 35 plus years, in mortgage banking, primarily with, community banks, um, and this offer, I was contacted by the company. I, uh started with the company in helping with their on the operational side of things. At the time, they had outside contractors that managed the company. Their agreement or contract was coming to a close. And so in 2020, they asked me if I would not mind taking the lead and running the company, which I happily did.
Seeing that you've been in finance for 35 years, as you've mentioned, for a lot of folks, and I guess this would really apply to all businesses, when you're looking forward in life of what to do, finance really doesn't really float to the top of what people grow up wanting to be a part of. It's just funny that way. So how did you come to desire to be in the finance world?
I think it's when it comes to mortgage banking, mortgage lending, I don't know that anyone really desires to come into it. You just, you come into it and there you stay. It's rewarding. It really is when you can help people, as I mentioned earlier, help people get into homes. For me, it was learning, being a part of every every piece of the mortgage manufacturing process, and also, through the, portfolio management, asset management. It's something somehow it grows on you.
After such a long amount of time, what is it about this type of work that is still exciting to you and makes you want to come into the office every day?
I think I'm going to sound like a broken record, but it is, the opportunity to help people get into homes. It really is. For me, this has been probably um, the best way to sort of maybe close out those last years that I may have, and because I have this just wonderful opportunity to work with a Native American tribe and to also continue to help people into homeownership.
You can learn more about Miki Adams and the CBC Mortgage Agency at chenowafund.org.